So it was a very confusing time with me. It was a very lonely time for me. It was a very, very shitty time. Hey, I'm Amanda, and in 2017, I tried to unalive myself. However, I got a second shot, and ever since then, I've been trying to rediscover myself and make the most out of my life. I think it's about time we take a look at the past. This is Past Pages Unfolded. Welcome to the show where I read old diary entries and try to make sense of that time in my life. Today we're going back to 2019, so strap in. All of the words in this show are entries from my diary, so they're my words and my words only. Get that right. Let's get on with the video. So the format of the show is basically going to be that I'm going to read a diary entry from my past, and then I am going to go over a few questions and answer those relating to that diary entry and that period of my life. So today's entry is from March 21st, 2019, and I'll just read it and we'll see where it goes from there. I guess I'm going to try and get back into journaling and poetry and just writing in general. But school has been so busy, so I do a lot of writing through my homework. Right now I'm living in a house with 4 other people, but everyone keeps to themselves and I just stay in my bedroom. It's a bit lonely, to be honest. I wish I had a boyfriend or a girlfriend or just someone to spend time with. My friends are always unavailable to hang out. I'm by myself most of the time. I'm in school 3 days a week, and the other 2 days I work on online classes. So I'm doing schoolwork 5 days a week, if not more. I can handle it. I'm just going through some stuff with my mental health right now. I'm increasing my dosage to see if that makes things better. So far, I'm just tired. Sometimes I wish I could remember things about the accident or the week before, just something. I get flashes and people tell me things, but I feel like I wasn't even there. Where did all those memories go? So that's the entry. I guess let's review it. So just reflection on the entry itself, I would say it's a pretty boring entry. I know I started with a pretty boring entry, but I wanted to get an entry that kind of encapsulates a period where I had a lot going on and I'm not overwhelming you with a bunch of details about my trauma because we're going to get into that eventually. Basically, the emotions I think I was experiencing at the time was overwhelm and loneliness, a lot of loneliness. I remember feeling very lonely in the house I was living in. I remember coming home every day and kind of dreading that I was home. And kind of really looking forward to going to school. At this point, I was going to college and this was 2019, so I think I was about 23 at the time. I went back to college a little bit later. I never finished school. But I remember feeling very lonely all of the time and kind of going home feeling like I had no one, having not very many friends in town that I could hang out with. They might have been busy or they didn't live in town. So it just felt very isolating. At the end, we get this brief section about the accident and how I wish I could remember the accident. And in further videos, we will get, I'm sure, into depth on the unaliving and everything. But I remember during this time feeling very confused because I did not have all of the information about the accident and I did not have all of my memories from what had happened or I guess what even had happened. So it was a very confusing time with me. It was a very lonely time for me. It was a very, very shitty time. My advice to my past self for this time period would be to tell my past self, to tell past Amanda, 2019 Amanda, that it's not going to be this lonely forever and you're actually going to look back at this time in your life at one point and say, I should have taken more advantage of that. I should have taken more advantage of my independence when I had it, my freedom when I had it. And that's not to say that when you grow up and you become an adult and get into relationships and have dogs, you lose freedom and independence. You kind of do. It's a different kind of freedom and independence you have now. But I would say that at this time in my life, I wasn't appreciating the kind of freedom and independence I did have access to. I was kind of just being really reckless with it. I think this time period was one of the first time periods that showed me that I could really be alone, that I could do things by myself, that I could hang out with myself, that I could use myself for company, because I used to do that all the time as a teenager. Then everything happened with the accident, and then I did not want to be alone anymore. I just wanted to be with people all the time, and I kind of hid in other people. I think this time period was helping me see that I did not need these other people, and that I actually could do some stuff by myself, and I could take care of myself and get myself where I needed to be every day. That kind of doesn't make sense, because I know I did that previously when I had gone to university, which was even farther away from home than where I was in 2019. But it was just a different kind of a rediscovery of alone time, because like I said, I'd gone through the accident, I'd gone through all the trauma, and now I felt like a totally different person. I felt like someone that didn't exist previously. And it kind of felt like there's two versions of me. There's the version before 2017, before the accident, and then there's a version after 2017, after the accident. And this 2019 version of me was stuck somewhere between wanting to have the toxicity back and wanting to have my old life back, while also wanting to grow into something much better than myself, but while also not having the motivation or the will to even want to go on. If I learned any lessons during that time, I would definitely say that I learned, like I said, about alone time, but I also learned about how it's important to lock your doors at night. No one ever broke into my house, but frequently in that house, the other people I lived with did not like locking the door for some reason. And I always got so scared because we didn't live in the best neighborhood. And I always lock my door now. So if anything, that time period ingrained it in me to double check my lock every night. A fun little segment we have is music of the time. So I'm going to just share a song that I listened to during this time period, or I guess for this episode, because of the time period. March 2019, if you're not aware, was the month that Billie Eilish's When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go came out. It came out at the end of that month on March 29th, 9 days after this journal entry. So at the time I was listening to classic hits like Bad Guy, that one where she's under the bed. Oh, Bury a Friend. And then Wish You Were Gay. I was really enjoying Wish You Were Gay at this time too. So I was just listening to those singles and listening to the singles from that album and kind of preparing for that album, because Billie Eilish was really big at the time and everyone loved Billie Eilish. The Billie Eilish extravaganza. Finally, I'm going to conclude the episode with a moment of gratitude for why I'm grateful that this period of my life happened to me. Why am I grateful that I went through this period of loneliness and feeling confused and feeling very isolated? Why am I grateful? I guess I would say I'm grateful because it showed me that I can, like I said, I can get through things and I can start to recover. I did a good job during that time period of making it to all my classes and making sure I was being responsible. And I think that's really important, that I showed myself I could do that. I showed myself that I was ready to step up to the next level after the trauma that had happened in my life. And that was a really big step for me. So I guess I'm grateful that I had that lesson. And I'm also grateful that I had that little room that I had in this little house where I felt like it was my little sanctuary. And I really enjoyed, for some reason, I really enjoyed being in that room. And that, not that house specifically, but that room specifically, I really remember having good memories there. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love to hear your feedback on it in the comments. I would love to hear what year you think I should do next. I'm going to jump all over the place in this series, but we started with 2019. We have entries all the way back to 2011. We can go all the way back. We can go newer. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. If you want to leave a comment and suggest a time period for me to cover, then go ahead and suggest it. Please consider giving the video a like if you liked it, because I put a lot of work into these videos and it means a lot to me to see that people are enjoying them. And if you really liked it, then I would say subscribe, because you're gonna get one of these past pages unfolded episodes every month, and you will get other episodes on my channel. I come out with a new episode of a different show every Friday. We've got 4 shows per month. Does that make sense? That sounds really confusing. You'll get it. We'll all get it. Anyways, thanks so much. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, night, wherever you are, and bye.